All right. Welcome everyone back to the session, and welcome to all of you who are watching in the replay. This is the recap of our takeaways and lessons learned from the Use Your Stash Your Way workshop, our special event for September. I can't believe it's September. So these lovely folks here have all just been in some fascinating discussions. We had a little kind of crazy Zoom issues tonight with folks being bounced around, but hopefully you had some good thought-provoking conversations and maybe just a good old-fashioned good time as well. So we covered 4 different questions tonight. The first one, what type of supply do you always use up and buy more of? Number 2, what type of supply do you always kind of skip over, or you add to your page and remove it, or you just never reach for it? So maybe a clue to what you should not be buying more of. Number 3, do you ever save that special supply for a hypothetical future project because it's just too special to cut into? And number 4, what's the best way you've seen or tried to use a lot of supplies on one page? The best kind of use your stash strategies. So I'm excited to hear from all of you who participate in these discussions tonight and to share what are your takeaways. Do you want to implement in your own routine? What was a surprising idea for you? And what was the best nugget of wisdom from your conversations?
So I can go first, unless someone else wants to.
Okay, go ahead, Alyssa.
So for the last question about using lots of items on a page, at first I was like, I don't do that because I'm pretty minimalist. But then I remembered I made this layout and I used all these buttons.
Oh, cool.
And that was like, at the time, that was like my entire button stash. So that's you can use buttons, and I like how they're in like a rainbow order.
Yeah, we talked about that in our group too, that like using lots of stuff when you make it rainbow makes it extra special, even though it's lots of stuff still.
Well, and you can put things, another
awesome.
Rainbow, yeah. And you can put things that aren't exactly identical too.
That's a great example, Judy. All right, what else? I think Barb was gonna say something.
We just discussed about don't save your pretty stuff, because that you're not enjoying it anyway. It's stuck in a cupboard somewhere, and also that it doesn't need to be perfect. Nobody I need to do it for me because I'm the one who wanted to do it. It makes me happy, and just yeah. So use your pretty stuff and just get it done.
I love that. Thank you. Perfect. Jenny?
Yeah. What, I had to log back in. What was the question?
Oh, I thought you were unmuted yourself because you wanted to share a takeaway from the conversations.
We, in one of the breakout rooms, a lot of us had been doing it for 20 years and agreed that we didn't need to buy more stuff. That we still do sometimes because we like it, and it's, and we like the last woman was just saying, we use the pretty stuff first because we like to. We've come to know that if we don't use it now, we won't get to it.
Well, I think also sometimes it may not. If you think it's the pretty stuff now, in 5 years, you may not even think it's pretty anymore. So
Shemale Lane actually shares a story that she bought all these pages of particular paper. So I think she bought like 10 of them, and she kept destroying them thinking, oh, this story's not good enough. It's not good enough. And then she went back 10 years later and went, what the hell did I like about that paper that I bought 10 of? And now I don't know what to do with them. So it's so true. And when you do look back at the paper that you loved and you didn't use, you quite often go, oh, I don't even know what I liked about that paper.
Yep, that's so true. So true.
I find that happens to me a lot because I will, I'll get obsessed with something and have to go find it, have to track down a certain kit or a certain kind of paper or something. And then, a couple of years later, I'm cleaning out my stash and I come across that piece of paper that I never used and now I don't even care about. And I'm like, oh, remember when I was so obsessed with that?
I think that happens in like a lot of categories in our life too.
Yes. I have a lot of pretty paper, but I only have a son. I don't have a daughter. So it's like, who am I using this paper for besides myself? And I don't take
Yourself.
pictures because I'm always
Yeah.
taking the pictures.
Do layouts of yourself.
I know, I tried.
The pretty paper on their layouts, I don't care. It's my scrapbook. I'm just going to use it.
I used a flower one time on my son's layout. He said, don't you ever use another flower again.
Oh no.
Now he's 23. I don't think he has much to say, but everything is submarines now and Navy because he's in the Navy.
Mhm,
So,
sure.
so everything's blue, red, and white all the time. So
just scrapbook about yourself. Just use it all.
that's going to be my new thing.
I reorganized my pattern paper this weekend and discovered that apparently if a piece of paper has a camera motif on it, I will buy it, because when I sorted my paper, I discovered like 8 sheets with cameras on them.
I love
icons.
camera sheet paper.
Thank you, Cindy, because I do too. I have a problem with it. I mean,
Apparently.
I buy it, and I don't use it.
And I buy
Apparently-
camera stamps, and I don't use stamps. That was the first question. You keep buying it, but you don't use it.
For me,
All right,
it's
Lynn, you're
star
up next
paper.
here.
I buy every star paper that exists. And I don't use star paper. I use star embellishments. I don't use star paper. But I own every paper that ever existed.
So
right, we
I
have-
have a
Hey guys,
I
we
haven't-
have enough people here. We should use the raise hand feature. Lynn has raised her hand very politely, so we're gonna let her go. And if you have something else to say, please raise your hand. We usually don't have quite this many, but now that's awesome. Maybe next time we'll have 100 folks here, and then I will force you to raise your hands and keep you muted all the time. So
Sorry,
Thanks, Jennifer. I don't mind waiting. I'm used to that, but it's not a problem. I just want to share my aha, and I think you might get a little a giggle out of it. I found out I'm normal, and I don't find that out very often. But it's funny because in the different rooms, when I brought something up, there were at least one other person that experienced the same thing, or everybody experienced the same thing. So it was really nice to be able to come back into scrapbooking after so many years and feel normal about something. But the other thing is that I don't think it's going to be any easier for me because there's so many more new things out there. So I still have the shiny object syndrome and wanting to get everything new. But it's nice to rejoin, the scrapbooking world again.
you're definitely normal, that's for sure.
Well, that's the only place I'm going to be normal. So I guess you got me coming. Now you're coming back into the group.
That's why we're
Thanks,
all
ladies.
here. Yeah, no, thank you. All right, Bree.
So one of the things that we talked about when we talked about the things that we save is we save them and then we never go back and use them. So what do we do? And one of the things that I started doing is I have a little project file. And in it, it's just a little tabbed 12 by 12 sheet or 12 by 12 little folder. And I just put dates in there and I always go to that first. And if there's something that I've put in there, a particular paper, which I am terrible at never using all the time and forgetting that I have it, I find that I actually use them now. Oh, look, I have this camping trip for this camping paper that was done back in 2019. And I kind of taught myself to go to that project file first. And I can actually use some of that stuff instead of finding it 10 years later and throwing it away. So
That's an awesome idea. Thank you. Okay, Jenny.
I was going to say that I actually have a different, on the buying stuff, I've found that my style has changed and I now like the older crate paper stuff. So I'm searching for this older collections because that's the stuff that is inspiring me now. Whereas when I could have bought it and it was new, I either didn't have the money or it wasn't. I went, when will I ever use that?
Mm-hmm.
So does it have a similar sort of experience with that sort of thing?
I certainly do in terms of my interests and tastes changing over time. I was definitely into very neutral muted colors for a while. Then I went through a bright color phase. And now I'm more into more cute things. I never expected in my wildest dreams that I'd be using Cocoa Daisy stickers with all these cute little animals and things on them. but I love them and I'm having fun with it, and that's what matters. But my tastes have evolved over time. All right, what else? Kim.
I would say when it comes to the whole like ways to use up large volumes of a certain supply, we were talking in our group, and Laura had mentioned she had taken some classes with Crafty Jen Scow. I know she has that Use It or Lose It series, I think, on YouTube. Because we're talking about how like I tend to be like more on the minimalistic side of things, but like Laura had pointed out, like if you use them in a controlled manner, like on a border, or like Alyssa had done like along the bottom, or I think Laura said she'd done like a assignment for the class where it was like a heart or a shape and you just filled it with supplies. So then you still kind of get the impact of it, but it doesn't like overwhelm everything. So I thought that was a really insightful like comment to make on trying to use a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily have to overwhelm your page.
Yeah, we talked about the exact same thing, about that sense of control, like in a wreath or a grid or whatever you're going to do, is like having it somehow structured and linear or controlled or constrained so that, as you said, it doesn't look crazy. All right, any other final thoughts? This has been such a great discussion. You guys are so full of energy tonight. I love it.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so a couple announcements here. One, well, actually, let's start with this. Will be a recording for all of you who want to check back and reference it later, share with your friends. Next month, what would our topic be next month?
Technique.
Is it Technique Month? Oh my God, I'm so excited for Technique Month because there's just so many different techniques and so many different ways that we can add a little more creativity and playfulness to our projects and try something different, learn something new, maybe just experiment, find out if it works for you. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So I think that's going to be fun. You mentioned Jen Scow. So she is our podcast guest next week. I've already recorded that interview, so that should go up Monday-ish if all goes well for me. I'm excited about that. And then on September 17th, we have our next session of Stash Bash. So Stash Bash is our 7-day experience inside of the Simple Scrapper membership to dive into your supplies, like I say intensive, but I mean that in like a fun community spirit type of way. Like, let's put our blinders on, let's focus and get some stuff done. And this is our Use Your Stash theme session. So we have 12 brand new challenges that you get to pick and choose from to create some pages from your stash. You also have a lot of like personalization, customization options if you want to dabble in a little bit of creating, and then also a little bit of organizing and decluttering as well. So we always like to give you lots of options to really make it your own. So I know I have a lot of members here tonight, but for those of you who are not yet members, I hope you do check it out. You can go to simplescrapper.com/membership and find out what we're all about. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reply to any of my emails, and I'm happy to answer them for you. Thank you everyone so much for attending tonight and contributing to the discussion. I appreciate all of you so much. And all of you watching in the replay, thanks as well. So
Thank you.
guys.
Jen.
Thank you, everyone.
I think I'm a member. I'm not sure, Jen.
Send me an email and we can look it up for you.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.